So today we'll be getting into some stories with what's going on with Reginald and Alexa Bliss, as well as some other issues with Raw. Let's start things off with everything leading up to this Alexa Bliss and Reginald situation. Some fans have been enjoying Raw lately, which is fine, no issue there, but there's a group of fans that have started to really notice the repetitiveness and lack of logic with Raw's writing. Out of the last 6 weeks, we probably saw the same opener to Raw about 4 times. That's the classic opener of Bobby Lashley and MVP opening the show, followed by Drew McIntyre coming out and demanding a title match week after week. And fans are starting to get drained from seeing the same thing played out every single week. Not only that, but Drew McIntyre's direction and the writing of his character is starting to get fans to turn on him. Drew McIntyre now comes out every week crying and demanding a title match without doing anything for it. He lost at WrestleMania, he lost at Backlash, yet he's still demanding another title match. So you can definitely see some fans starting to turn on him because of how whiny his character has been coming off in recent weeks. So the way Drew has been portrayed in recent weeks is a slight flaw, unless their plan is to turn him heel. If that's the plan, then they're doing a great job because lots of fans seem to be turning on Drew McIntyre. There'll be a number 1 contenders match next week between Drew McIntyre and Kofi Kingston, but regardless of the winner there, they may already be flawed as well. Kofi legitimately pinned the champion. He has a case to be ahead of Drew McIntyre as the number 1 contender. Drew McIntyre has done nothing over the last few weeks, yet he's on the same level as Kofi in the number 1 contenders match. So just another example of broken logic on Raw. Drew McIntyre will probably defeat Kofi so that he technically earns the right to face Lashley at Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell usually makes the end of long feuds. So this should finally be the last chapter in Lashley vs. McIntyre. If Drew McIntyre comes out and interrupts Bobby Lashley again on the Raw after Hell in a Cell, everyone may just end up losing their minds. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin also recreated their breakup moment, with Cedric even repeating the same promo he used several weeks ago. But over to the Raw women's division, the broken logic continues over there as well. Rhea Ripley and Nikki Cross took part in a strange 2-minute beat the clock challenge that was also criticized by fans. Fans think that the beat the clock match didn't really do much for Rhea or Nikki, and actually just ended up making Rhea look foolish for not being aware of the 2-minute clock. But telling by WWE's logic, this was supposed to be Nikki Cross getting a win over Rhea Ripley without actually pinning her. So that happens. Then we had Asuka vs. Charlotte. Another match that the fans are burnt out on because we've seen it several times over the last few weeks. But Charlotte pins Asuka. Then it's later announced during the show that Charlotte vs. Rhea Ripley is confirmed for Hell in a Cell because of that win Charlotte got on Raw. But Asuka defeated Charlotte the week prior and got nothing, and Nikki Cross technically just defeated Rhea Ripley as well. So doesn't Nikki Cross have a better case than Charlotte? Just another broken logic moment there, it seems like. That leads us to the main event of the night. No actual appearance by Alexa Bliss, but we'll get more into that in a moment. Lilly was seen backstage watching Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and Reginald. Nia explains how Reginald was blinded by the fire last week and how he's been having nightmares about the situation over the last few days. Shayna blows all of that off and tells Reginald to stay away from the ring before she gives him something that he'll actually have nightmares about. Reginald would still end up coming out during the match. He walked up to the center of the ramp, fire and pyro went off on the sides of the stage, and he went down to the floor in pain. Tamina and Natalya picked up the win via the distraction, and that was that. Shayna held Reginald by the collar of his clothes and challenged him to a match next week. Before we get into Alexa's involvement in all those theories, there's also a few flaws here as well. Firstly, the pyro explosion itself. Similar to last week, Reginald was pretty far away from the explosion, but we're to believe he was in the middle of it. They used the camera tricks to hide it, but Reginald was in the center of the ramp, and the fire was off to the sides. Yet, he still collapses to the floor. We see superstars like Roman Reigns and Edge stand right on the center of the ramp, while pyro goes crazy behind them on the stage all the time, and they never get hurt. So logic is a bit shaky there as well. Also, the fact that Nia Jax didn't even try to save Reginald when he was getting threatened by Shayna was pretty weird. You would have assumed that she would have stepped in to help Reginald, but she kind of just watched from afar. As far as Alexa Bliss goes, she was unfortunately dealing with a horrific emergency regarding one of her pets that she was extremely close with. So that's why it seems like she was taken out of the show. A lot of fans were furious with Alexa's absence, but it was a very serious matter that you have to understand. But Alexa was technically still part of the show through the explosion. That was obviously Alexa and Lilly attacking Reginald. The story is now in a weird spot right now. Out of all the possible targets for Alexa and Lilly, no one really expected them to go after Reginald of all people. That came completely out of left field. Everyone was talking about different possibilities like Sonya, Shayna, Charlotte as the target. But strangely enough, in typical Raw fashion, the target has been Reginald thus far. Alexa laughed and enjoyed talking about Reginald getting beat up. She threw the fireball at his face last week and hit him again with the explosion this week. Loved Alexa and Lilly and all the potential they had coming out of WrestleMania. But if Reginald is their main concern out of the entire Raw roster, the hype is quickly going to fade there for Lilly. It's already feeling like we're losing a lot of fans' interest for when it comes to Lilly because no progress has really been done with her and her apparent target is Reginald. So some fans are checking out of that story at the moment, and understandably so. At this rate, it's hard to tell what they're planning for. Are we leading towards Alexa versus Reginald? Is that really the best thing for Alexa to do? Some fans have even talked about the possibility of Alexa possessing Reginald during his match with Shayna, just as a way to spook Shayna out a bit. Shayna has been very dismissive towards everything Alexa has been, so that match with Reginald would be a great spot for Alexa to put Shayna on notice. Maybe Alexa's attacks on Reginald is to set up a big moment with Shayna. Who knows at this point, because it's starting to be a mess. But we do see the light at the end of the tunnel with the live fans returning in July. Feels like fans being back in the arena will at least motivate them to come up with something new for Raw. And who knows what happens with Lilly. At this point, with how long they've been stretching things out, you might as well save the Lilly reveal for a live crowd as well. But like some fans have also been pointing out, WWE won't be able to do a lot of the camera cuts and editing for Alexa's character when they're back in front of a live crowd. So it'll be interesting to see how they work around that situation to keep the magic aspect of Alexa's character alive as well. But what are your thoughts on the topics we covered today? What are your thoughts on the current status of Raw? And are you still interested with everything going on with Alexa Bliss and Lilly? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.